Okay guys, I had to share. Look at how awesome this fireplace looks. It better be a fireplace because it looks really cool. I don't even know which way it goes. But just look at the texture on that. I'm gonna stand up. I think it does look like stone. I just made sure that the embossed area was on the outside, not on the inside. And then I did have to score everything over again because when you emboss it, it flattens out all the lines. So I just very carefully pulled it apart and embossed it, and then I rescored it and reglued it. It's still a little wet, so I'm handling it a little bit carefully. But again, this is another time when it's really, really important to use good adhesive, because now my tabs are actually embossed, which means they're bumpy, which means that you're going to have to use a really, really strong adhesive. And I always find that liquid adhesive works better for any embossed or glittery surface, just because other tape just kind of like is more on the surface, and it doesn't, like liquid glue goes down into all the nooks and crannies and fills, and when it bonds, it's kind of like really stuck. So I just wanted to share my really cool fireplace because I think it turned out really cool. So, oh yes, and just I used the Cuttlebug mesh embossing folder for that. Oops, my camera's doing something crazy. So beware, I've never done this before and it might it might be messy. Jose. Yeah, so what we need to do is we need to put on the steps, the balcony, and this piece right here. So these are the pieces that we need. This is House A Layer 1 that we've already put together. This is House A Layer 2 Shift, and this is House A Layer 2 Shift also. So those are the pieces that we're using in House A. So I'm skipping step 14. We'll see if that comes back to haunt me, but I'm skipping step 14 and I'm gonna go and do step 15, which is putting this little porch onto this little alcove, or whatever you call that, little section that juts out in the house. So this makes a lot more sense because there's the right amount of slits and they're in the right places. So I'm just going to make sure that my slits are nicely cut before I start. And look, this one isn't. So that's where that craft knife comes in handy. Yeah, this one did not go through, so you just want to make sure that you're cutting on a self-healing mat when you do that. I don't use my craft knife very often, so sometimes I forget that I need to use it on a healing mat or glass mat. Yep, so all of my slits are open. And now it's just fiddle. So I find it helpful, you might not be able to see this, but I find it helpful to kind of bend back the cardstock so that the slit kind of opens a teeny bit, and then just, you might need to bend your arrow so it's pointing the right way to go in that opening, depending on the angle of it. And then once you see it poking from behind, you can just give it a little tug like that until it's all the way through, like that. And you might actually not want to pull it all the way through because they're really close together, and now this one is all folded, right? So I'm going to back that one out a little bit and get the second one started. Yeah, that one goes in there. So I'm going to again poke it, fold it kind of backwards so that I can see my thumbnail, And then I'm going to put that there. While I'm at it, I'll also kind of get this one lined up. I don't know if you can even see what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of, they're all so close together, it's good to get them all kind of started poking through the right way, and then maybe pull them all through together. There, okay, so now I have little tiny pieces poking through, and now I just have to pull them all. I'm going to pull them all a little bit. Oh, this one isn't through yet. I'm going to go turn off the baby monitor. I don't need to monitor Scott. There. There. Okay. That was actually pretty easy. Knock on wood, I haven't finished it yet, but that was pretty easy. There is no way you could do this if this was already attached to the house. So, there. There's no way, if this was attached here, that you could possibly pull all those through. So, that was a good call. Okay, so step 15 is done. Now I need to go back and do step 14. And I'm going to put on, this house looks like it might be, or sorry, this piece here looks like it might be fairly easy. You just have to put that in there, but it'll make it really bulky. So I'm going to do these two pieces first, this piece and this piece, and we'll see if that makes it easier. I don't know. So this piece attaches to this door here by the looks of this picture. So I'm kind of looking at this. Goes on to that door, which is not the door that's rounded, it's the square door. So it's going to go in there. And lo and behold, we have the right slashes there for lining up, but they didn't go through. So I'm going to grab my mat and knife again. if I could do this again, I would have run all of the roof pieces, which would be this piece, this piece, this piece, this piece, and this piece. I would have run through an embossing folder like this just to get some texture. And because these pieces are all kind of circular when they're laying flat, these wouldn't necessarily be exactly straight, but they would be straight on these pieces. And I still might do that with this, although then I'm going to end up with an embossed window, which I don't necessarily want. But yeah, so I might still do that for these flatter pieces. But just because I like the idea of the roof looking different and standing out. But yeah, so I'm going to do something different to give this roof some texture, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm still working on the roof texture situation, which what I've done is any flat pieces that I haven't put together yet, I just ran through my Cut-A-Bug Distressed Stripes embossing folder. So, and that gives it kind of like a nice, it looks kind of rooftopy, I think. It does emboss the windows, but there's not much I could do about that. I tried putting a piece of chipboard in, but I didn't have a heavy enough piece, so it ended up embossing anyway. So I just went with it. It's only 2 windows, it doesn't really matter. And then I did that little piece. So then I have these. I didn't really want to take all these apart just to emboss it, so although it might end up being easier in the long run anyways. What I've done is I'm going to put like little shingles on this, but these are too pretty, right? Like they're too perfect, and everything else about this house is kind of jaggedy and broken and fallen apart, so I don't really want this scalloped edge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to layer a whole bunch of them over top on all 3 of these surfaces, and then I don't know what I'm going to do about the front with the window, and on all of these surfaces. And so what I've done is after I have ran it through my scallop border punch, I'm just taking a pair of deco scissors, and I just looked for a piece that was uneven, that didn't have a nice even pattern, because I don't want it to look even, and I'm just kind of making sure that I hit a bunch of the edges, and I don't even care if I completely cut it off or partly cut it off. I'm just kind of, you know, making it look more jaggedy. And then so sometimes I'm cutting it entirely off, and I'm just kind of trying to stay to the tips. And then the other thing I did was, as I made these scallop edges, I wasn't all that careful about lining it up, because I knew I'd be kind of breaking it up anyways, so it's not perfectly cut to begin. Okay, I have been, I spent the past probably 10 or 15 minutes covering this roof in shingles, and oh my god, I love how it looks. Look at it. It's so, oops, it's so totally cool. These shabby, kind of ripped up, broken shingles are going to be perfect for this house. I love this. And it is pretty tedious, so I'm glad that I've got these just kind of embossing folders to do the big surfaces, and then I do plan to do this little roof as well. I think this is a roof. Yep, this is a roof as well. So I'm going to do this roof, and I might even do this roof even though this roof is embossed, just because it's another little accent roof. So I might do all of the accent roofs with this. I think this probably goes here. And I think that would look cool. Okay, so now I'm on step 19, which is where I'm going to assemble my roofs. I have decked out my roofs in these really shabby shingles. I just did it to all of my extra roofs, all the little cute roofs, and then my basic roofs I just made texturized using the Distress Stripes embossing folder by Cuttlebug. And so now it looks like the first step that I need to do is to put these little things through the roof, which I probably want to do before I attach the roof because it would be hard to attach otherwise. Very cute. So here's my completed haunted house. It has a, right now it has a light that's quite a bit brighter than what I'll put on it normally. But there it is. I love how it looks with the details on the roofs and the texture. the embossing. And then I actually dropped it upside on its head. Wasn't being very careful. I was showing my husband, I dropped it on its head, so this is a little floppier than it should be, so I'm just gonna take some glue and affix that a little bit better. That's the chimney, which turned out really, really cute. I know the light isn't the greatest here, but I just kind of wanted to show it to you on my little table where I'm gonna be keeping it. So there it is.